Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I'm Wright Brennan. This is the Lost in the Midlands podcast brought to you by Seawright Roofing. And I am really excited today to be here with the Shannon Frazer, CEO of Drip Ninjas, highly professional, highly competent. Thank you so much for helping my customers and for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Fantastic. You guys got some amazing stuff going on. I know you guys just rebranded the company. You got this van that looks freaking awesome. So a lot of cool stuff going on in the business. But before we jump into business stuff, I do want to hear a little bit about your background.
Well, my background is not related to water damage. I actually spent about 20 years working with individuals with autism.
Wow.
I did a lot of handyman stuff on the side. My dad owned a lumber company, so I kind of grew up around construction, around water damage, that sort of thing. But it wasn't until about 5 years ago that I made a drastic change. And that's when I went into working with my fiance and doing water damage. And I fell in love. It became a true passion of mine, as crazy as it seems. But
what a change. What a change. And I've seen you firsthand in the field, cutting sheetrock, putting up. I mean, I was highly impressed about your ability to get out there and actually do the work. So kudos to you. That is what it's all about. All right. So when you jumped in, tell me about that decision. Was it a little nerve-wracking making that?
Absolutely. So I went from having a very stable job that I thought I was going to retire in to kind of being forced to make a change to support my family.
Yeah.
And going from having a very stable situation where you do have, all your benefits, you do know what your retirement's going to look like, to one that you don't know, if you're going to have a job, what it's going to look like, a field that you're not, all that familiar with. It was tough. It was... there were a lot of moments where I was like, am I crazy? What have I done? My kids need me, but now I've thrown everything to the wind. And where do I go from here? What does that look like? And if you'd asked me 5 years that I'd be here where I am, I don't know what I would have said, because I can't fathom this. Each day, I'm just so blessed to be doing what I'm doing. So happy and so passionate.
Those first few jobs, I got to imagine that, like, once you got going, I'm sure you were like, okay, we're in a good spot.
True. But each job is a little different.
Oh, yeah.
So you have the foundation and the skills, but I'm learning every single day. And I'm always looking for opportunities to learn how to continually up my game, up the game of my team, because I've got a great team, and none of this would be possible without them.
That's awesome. In your business, there is so much complexity to drying. I mean, there's just so many different certifications you got to have. You really got to be a dang encyclopedia to know what you're doing, right?
True. There is certifications, but even after you get that base certification, you don't stop learning.
Yeah.
So things change, and they change rather rapidly. What insurance looks like, what the drying process looks like, what the actual standards are. There's new revisions coming out pretty soon to the S500s. I mean, so you've got to stay on top of things. You can't just take one approach that you learned maybe 5 or 10, 15 years ago and carry that through the next 10, 15 years. You got to be willing to open up and learn.
One of the interesting things about your business is that you guys are the Drip Ninjas, but there's so many different ways the loss could happen. So many different entry points for the water to get in, whether it be a fire or, and the firefighters are spraying the house down, or rain, et cetera. So how do you guys figure out, like, the insurance stuff? I mean, is that something that, do you have to be versed in that to kind of help the customer coming out?
You do have to kind of know what you're looking at. You have to have an understanding of insurance. Now, each person's policy may read slightly different, but we know in the broad scope what tends to be covered and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So if someone allows, say, a situation to go on, months, years, that's not going to be covered. However,
like a slow drip under a sink, maybe.
Yes, and if you knew about it and you failed to address it, that would be considered a not covered item.
Yeah.
However, if it's sudden and what we call sudden and catastrophic, most of the time that's going to be covered. But and again, it all boils down to an individual policy. So we like to see, policy, what that looks like. There are people that have mold coverage. There are a majority of people who do not have coverage for fungi and mold. So you have to really know what's in the policy. And so that's what we advise people to know, one, what your deductible is, because it is surprising how many people don't know their deductible.
Yeah.
And they might file a claim for a loss that equates to about $4,000, and their deductible is $6,400. So, it's now they've got an unpaid claim, and it's a hit against their insurance. So it is a complicated process, but we work with customers and sit down and try to, inform them and see what they're looking at.
And they need guidance. Like, you
100%.
Don't want to just file the claim, start getting your own fans in there. Probably not a good move, right?
Correct. And even I just had one on Saturday that I'll be meeting with the adjuster at my house because my situation was water damage, sewer pipe break in my backyard. First thing I did was, my mom lives with me. We pulled up the policy, took a look at it, and, what does this look like? What's going on? Where do we have coverage? And, so that I could refresh myself so when I meet with the adjuster, what that looks like.
Okay.
This is Wright Brennan, the owner of Sea Right Roofing. When it comes to the maintenance of your roof, you want to know that you have an experienced team that knows what they're doing. And with 10 years in the business, we check all the boxes. Leaky roof, storm damage, or just overdue on maintenance, give us a call at 803-828-4181 for a free estimate. Again, that's 803-828-4181. And remember, our commitment is to roof it the right way.
Now, do you work with insurance agencies? Will you kind of just come in and say, "Hey, look, if people have problems, we're here to help"?
Absolutely. So we do something called a lunch and learn, where we go into an insurance agency and we'll speak about what water damage looks like.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we'll have insurance agents say, "Hey, go out and see this customer first and determine whether it's something that would be covered or not," so that they're not getting a hit if they call and it's not something that's covered. So we do a lot of that. We do offer courtesy inspections and go out there and, "Hey, this is what we see. This is how we can help you."
Okay. And a lot of if you see a water stain, there's so much that may be behind it, right? Like,
correct.
You're not going to be able to make a good decision just based on the stain on the ceiling. Maybe some other things, and that's another part. You come out and you guys, is that correct? You guys come out and assess what's actually happening.
Correct. So some of them are very cut and dry, and some of them are like, "Okay, I've got this staining, and we're not exactly sure," so that might require us going up into the attic, kind of doing some crawling across the beams, getting our, about that, our thermals, getting our moisture meter, pulling back some insulation to see what we have going on. Bathrooms, you often see like surface mold, or you see issues in there that are not always clear. There's not an actual pipe break. It just might be high humidity. In the crawl space, you might have issues there. What does that look like? So we're going wherever. We're using our diagnostic tools to try to find out exactly what's going on to provide guidance. And then if we do suspect, hey, you got a roof leak or you got an HVAC leak, we'll call, coordinate with professionals, get them out of there so that we can work together to problem solve.
Yeah, water's sneaky. It's like it'll look like it's coming from the roof, for example. Yeah. And not like that recent one where there was just surface mold right up underneath a place where it usually leaks. You guys were able to come out with your amazing equipment. Did y'all use the infrared camera on that to help?
We did, yes. And unfortunately, it didn't show anything. So, and there are some times where you do have to take more invasive strategies to find out what's going on. And that's a case where we've had a roofer out there. We've had an HVAC company out there. We've used our tools. We haven't really identified the source per se, other than maybe high humidity, which there is, that's what the likely suspect is, but we are going to have to cut it out because with mold, you do want to physically remove mold off of those porous and semi-porous surfaces.
Sometimes it takes some detective work to figure out where the water's coming from. Those are the fun ones where nobody knows. Everybody's like, well, it could be about 8 things. And
yeah, they're frustrating, but they're also what I love.
Yeah.
I love trying to help find the identify the problem and then find the solution.
The customer's really in a bind there because somebody may just come along and want to try to push service when it's not clear if it's needed.
Yeah. And we're not going to do that. We're going to come in, we're going to assess, we're going to tell you if we can help you and what that might look like, but we're also going to tell you when we can't help you or when it's not appropriate. And there are those situations where it's not appropriate and we're like, we wish you the best.
Yeah.
But this is, this is not something that would be appropriate for us.
Absolutely. That's why you guys are professionals. Best in the business right here. Explain to me the Drip Ninjas inspiration behind this rebrand, because I love the logo. What's up with that? I know you do
martial arts.
Martial arts.
Taekwondo. Yes. Not as much as I have been in the past, but that was a passion for me. So I loved water damage and I loved martial arts, and I think martial arts really changed my life at a time where I needed, maybe a good kick, if you will.
Cool.
So, so when we were looking at it, I really wanted to take a whole different route, be a lot more serious, if you will.
Yeah.
But I do have kind of a quirky personality, and it seemed to fit. But I'll be honest, when I first decided to go the Drip Ninjas route, and I woke up the next morning, and I'm like, what have I just done? I'm going to have to get up and tell people that I am a Drip Ninja. And anyways, it has really been well received. And I think it was the other day I just got asked, or a contractor told me, he's like, yeah, I reached out to a roofer and he said, what the heck is a Drip Ninja? Honestly, right. I love it. I love that people are like, what is a Drip Ninja? And it's one of those things you remember.
I think it's a genius mark. I mean, it's so unique, and it really does. What's cool about that marketing piece is your brand has got to reflect your personality. It really does reflect y'all's personality. It's so cool. I love the logo, and all the people have the ninja bands now. So well done with that rebrand.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm sure you were probably taking. It's a big risk when you rebrand. So
anyway, I was sweating it. I was sweating it when I was going to and even now we still contact people. Who'd you say you were? So I might have to spell. Oh, that's so cool. But yeah, it is taking people by a storm. They're not quite sure what to think of it at first, but then once they hear it and they think about it, oh, that's awesome. I love your logo. So we're excited. We're running with it.
You guys come in, y'all save the day, you get things done, knocking out the water damage for many homeowners around the area. Let me ask you this: somebody who's interested in getting into the field of restoration, what advice would you give them?
Well, start working in it. Reach out to those that are already doing it.
Yeah.
Go with a company that is certified and get trained. There is some basic certificates like your WRT, which is your water restoration technician. You can move up from there, but the WRT and the ASD, the applied structural drying, is kind of where people start.
Yeah.
And it gives you a base foundation of knowledge, but you also want to train under people who are knowledgeable and also who are passionate.
Yeah.
You want somebody that's not stagnant. You want to go with a company where people are wanting to learn and they're affiliating themselves with the standards and with professionalism. So you've got like the RIA, you've got the Mid-South Cleaning and Restoration Association, you've got the IICRC. Those things are very important.
And you got to be tough too, don't you? I mean, people call you in the middle of the night and their house is flooded. It could be flooded with anything.
Sure.
And you guys got to get up out of bed.
Yeah, that
ninja it.
Correct. So that phone rings in the middle of the night. We're going to get out there. We're going to change clothes, set up, and head on out. And there's true emergencies. I mean, homeowners don't want to wait, and they shouldn't have to wait. That it's not common that we get those 2 or 4 o'clock in the morning phone calls, but when they happen, we're going to get out there and we're going to start stabilizing that environment.
Fantastic. Yeah, that is such a cool service and a tough job. I have so much respect for you guys getting up in the middle of the night to go save homeowners. Awesome. How do we find you?
Well, the best way is you can go to my website, dripninjas.com. That'll give you all the information, give you the telephone number. We also have Facebook, Instagram. You can follow us. We'd appreciate it. But yeah, just give us a call, and you'll definitely see the van out and around because it is noticeable.
It is noticeable. Fantastic. Look, thanks so much for coming on. It's been awesome working with you out in the field, and we appreciate your time today, referrals, etc. You guys are doing an amazing job, so keep rocking.
All right. Thank you, Rodway. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Hey everyone, many thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a follow and click the bell to stay up to date on future episodes, or click the link to watch another previous episode. Also, don't forget to like, share, and please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback.